The story that we're telling starts with your community. Starts with the people in your community. They're the hero of the story, not the all-powerful utility. No, not anymore. Your customers are the hero, and you're the guide. I'm Carolyn Parrs, communicator, coach, and host of Just Power, a podcast about creating a clean energy future without leaving anyone behind. Join me as we explore the technologies, policies, and human stories that can make clean energy not just sustainable for our planet, but accessible for everyone. Welcome to Just Power. I'm Carolyn, and I want to start our podcast today by talking about the space we experience when we go through a significant transition. And I love this phrase that author and theologian Richard Rohr calls between the no longer and the not yet. Between the no longer and not yet. It's when you have left or you're leaving the tried and true thing, what you've done for over 100 years, but you haven't been able to quite replace it or shift to the new, to what needs to happen now. And this reminds me of the energy transition we're in right now. A huge transition is happening on how we generate energy and who uses it and how much, between electrification and the expanding universe of AI, where by 2030, they say 12% of all the energy that we generate will be for data centers, right? Things are changing fast. So how is that going to affect the grid? How is it going to affect the people using the grid? Your communities. These are a lot of those not yet questions in that space. And a couple of weeks ago, I asked Ben Nathan from eSource, who was on my show. He had just come back from a conference where he spoke with some utility leaders. And I asked him if you could advise the utility leaders to take one bold action step right now, what would that be? And you know what he said? This is groundbreaking. I hope you're sitting down. He said, listen. That's what they said. Listen to what your customers are saying. Listen to what they want now. Because if we haven't figured out what they want and what they need from their utility now, our programs are just going to fail. That's what he said. And I happen to agree. That's why in season 2, I gave you 5 questions you should be asking your communities now. If you want that, go to show 12 in season 2. And that's a great way to begin the journey, right? To really understand your communities, not a year ago or even a few months ago, what's happening right now. And then just a few shows back, number 3, in this season, I gave you 8 ways to nurture your communities, not just serve them, to nurture them. Serving is in the no longer, category because we use that word. It's so overdone. Serving our customers, serving. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have an impact. Let's step that up to nurturing. How can we nurture our communities now? That is going to be more important than ever in the age of AI, where we're just inundated with machine learning. This is the human side to energy. So let's nurture them. To build on that today, I'm going to give you ways, 7 steps to communicate now, to communicate with your communities in these times. And I want to introduce a proven, powerful way to do that through storytelling. And the story that we're telling starts with your community, starts with the people in your community. They're the hero of the story, not the all-powerful utility. No, not anymore. Your customers are the hero, and you're the guide. You're the guide to help them get where they want to go, right? The guide that makes their life better. So here we go. think of it this way. Star Wars, right? We've all seen Star Wars. And that's a story that begins with the hero, with Luke Skywalker. And he eventually becomes, at the end, one of the greatest Jedis of all time. But at the beginning of the story, he is so far from that. He is aimless. He's an orphan. He's just lost his parents, and he doesn't know which way to go. He has these aspirations, but he's lost until he meets a guide, and that's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Right? Obi-Wan Kenobi shows him the skillfulness of using the lightsaber and the strategy for defeating, right, the dark side. And so that was one of his guides along the way. The other one was Yoda, the wise one, right? Yoda would go deep and really be able to give the philosophical underneath what he was trying to do. So he actually had two guides. But for today, and for the sake of your brand or company or even project, think of yourself as Yoda. And your customer is Luke Skywalker. So when you're communicating with your customers, put them at the center of the story, just like Luke is at the center of that story, right? And you're the guide to help them get where they want to go. So how are we going to do that? Let me take you through some 7 storytelling steps based on the methodology called StoryBrand. You can check it out. There's a book called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, and it takes you through these story steps, which I've helped just dozens and dozens of companies do and integrate into their brand. So let's break it down for you, right? Here we go. Step number 1, which is what I said earlier, is listen. Listen to your customers, what they're saying right now, what they need right now, what is happening for them right now. Okay? Listening. We always begin there, right? Because if you don't know, you're going to create programs in the dark, frankly. You need to go deeper than where you've gone before, right? So listen to your communities. And the step number 2 is asking a very specific question that you're going to ask is what is that one significant problem that you're experiencing right now? What is that one significant problem that you're experiencing right now? So, and make sure that that problem relates to your product or service, right? So we're talking in energy for today. This is key, right, in developing your relationship and your communications. Remember, your customer's the hero. You need to know what this is, and you're the guide to get them where they want to go. So for today, to use an example, we'll say affordability, right? Bills, their energy bills. This is a problem. We all know that. Nearly 1 out of 2 homes, I've said before, struggled in the last 12 months to pay their energy bill. Okay? This is a growing problem, and you know it's going to get worse. So we're going to put that front and center today. So when we take a look at a problem, we're going to look at it from 3 different levels. And the first level is what we call the external. It's what's actually happening in their life externally. So are they struggling to pay that bill, right? Is their energy bill over 6% of their total income, which puts them into energy burden, right, category? Are they about to be disconnected? What is that problem connected to affordability for them? That's the external problem that they're experiencing. You need to identify that. And then we go to the second part of that problem is the internal, right? The internal is what their response is to the external thing that's happening. Could be overwhelm. It could be anxiety, worry, right? It's the emotional component. So most companies talk about their products in terms of external problems, but people respond or buy or engage to internal ones, that internal feeling inside. You need to identify that, okay? So What is that internal response? And then the next level, 3, where we're still talking problems, is what we call the philosophical. Why is this just plain wrong that this is happening? Why is this just plain wrong, right? So a response to that might be, everyone deserves to have access to affordable, reliable, clean energy. That's a philosophical. Everyone. It is their human right to have access to clean, affordable, reliable. So see how that goes? The external, the internal, and the philosophical. Make sense? So find out what those 3 levels are, and you can be a successful guide to them, which is step number 3. Be the guide. Be the wise one. Be the Yoda in their lives when it comes to energy. Make their lives better. So the guide, which is you, has 2 functions, right? One is empathy, and the other one is authority. So let's start with empathy, because that's where you need to lead from. This is the human side to energy. It's the, I get it. We understand what you're going through. We're there with you, right? So you, and really mean it, really mean it, right? This is so key. And to me, it's one of the essential pieces of our energy transition, especially in the age of AI, right? Where we have machine learning and it's artificial intelligence all around us, right? Robots all around us. And that human connection is going to go far. So we want to really turn up the volume of that. And the second is authority, which is where energy companies shine. They really do. It's technical, the performance, the skillfulness, the Obi-Wan Kenobi of being a guide, right? So that's very important in this, but it has to be combined with empathy. They need to be married, empathy and authority. All right. So now that you've established yourself as the guide with those traits, it's time to give them a plan. Right? You know what their problem is. You're the guide. It's time to give them a 3-step, super easy plan to help them get where they want to go. For today, to lower their energy bill. And this could be a new program that you're launching, a digital product that's coming out, and hopefully it's company-wide. So we want to identify that. Make it easy enough to do. Don't overcomplicate this or it will fail. This is where I see some work that needs to be done in the eligibility of programs. It's too complicated, so note to self on that. So we really want to make it simple and easy for them. Which brings us to step number 5. Now you call them to action. You give them the easy plan and then call them to action. It could be simple as sign up now, request a demo, schedule a call. Those are direct calls to action versus what sometimes I see is learn more, explore this. We want to make very clear that button on your website or that call to action very clear for them to do a direct connection to you. Now, number 6. Now it's time, now that they have a plan and their call to action, it's time to paint a picture of what life could look like after they've gone through your program or project or taken that action. This is the success part, what they're looking for, and you want to ask your customers, what does success look like for you? Maybe it's peace of mind. Well, what does that look like? What does peace of mind look like for you? For them, it might be able to finally sleep at night or enjoy a worry-free afternoon with their children, right? Notice how it's you can see it in your mind's eye. You're painting this picture, right? That imagery. You want to include that in this step. Let them see what life could look like. Because when we go to 7, the last step in here, we want them to also know what they're going to avoid if they just stay status quo and they don't do anything. What will they avoid? All right. This is what we call agitating the problem a bit, which can help them propel them to action. It can propel them to action. So this is a really important step that's often forgotten. So there you have it, right? Every single step that I gave you here puts your community, puts your customer in the center of your communications. And as the guide, you've helped them make their life better because you have listened to them, right? Figured out what that one significant problem is. You became the guide to make their lives better, and you gave them a plan and called them to action, and then painted a picture, right, of what life could look like and showed them what they're going to avoid now that they've taken that action. That is the journey for your customer. So, can I ask you, how are you communicating with your customers, with your communities now? It's time to flip the script and make your customer the hero. Make your customer the hero, the center of the communications. This is where communications is going. No more all these heroes out there of the stories. You've got to put your customer at the center here. Okay, so leaving behind, remember that no longer and not yet? The no longer is that one-way street style of communication. And the not yet, for many companies, not all, many companies, is a two-way partnership, a two-way communication, right? Really bringing your customer into that dialogue, because we're going to need everyone now. Everyone is part of the energy landscape. And as Ben Nathan from eSource said, and I'm quoting him here, getting everyone on the same page is going to make our energy transition more resilient, more affordable, and one that we all feel we're part of. Okay? That we all feel that we are a part of. So if you need, here's my call to action, if you need some help with that, I've helped many, many companies get there. You can, in my show notes is my email address, cpars@mindovermarkets.com, and reach out. We can jump on a call to get your inner Yoda or inner Obi-Wan Kenobi in gear and nuance some of these steps for your communities. How about that? At the end of the day, we are all in this together. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to Just Power wherever you get your podcasts. And if you really loved it, leave us a review and tell everyone you know about our podcast. It's going to take all of us to create a clean energy future that leaves no one behind.